Initially starting out at Botchamania as a caretaker/cleaner, and then an errand boy, it's only been about 6 months since I've been let inside on a night and allowed to sleep in the server room with my sleeping bag and Final Fantasy collection, so I've obviously taken advantage of the facilities here overnight while nobody's been in, and I've been cracking on. That being said, because of the hectic Christmas and New Year that we had in the office, I've had quite a bit of work to do, and I'm only just getting caught up with this week's Raw, and I'll be watching next week's straight after. So apologies for the tardiness on this one, but the next one should be out a bit quicker. Now we've got the pleasantries out of the way, let's get the unpleasantries out of the way, as we start Raw with Stephanie McMahon and Mick Foley. Now that Steph's finished giving Mick his haircut, she's going to give him a performance review for the last year. But to be fair, a lot of the things that she's going to hold him accountable for are her fucking problem. She's the big cheese, he's just her bloody underling. Actually, scratch all this fucking shit. Before we get started, let's just go on a quick side note. Let's see all the shit things Steph's done in the last year or so. Because she's far from fucking perfect. So, off top of my head, she's just always a dick to both the heels and the faces. Whether it's The Miz or Charlotte, she's just, as long as she gets to have the last say and she looks like the biggest pair of fucking bollocks in the room, she's happy. She belted the fuck out of Roman Reigns at the beginning of the year last year after he beat Triple H. No ramifications, just smacked someone straight in the face because she don't like him. She belittled Dean Ambrose when he became the champ, mostly getting his appearance and picking on him for that. Don't be a bully, be a star, kids. No matter how much you fucking do that sort of stuff, you're still a cunt at the end of the day, so it's not going to clean your conscience in any way. And then Stephanie Best for Business McMahon went ahead and did this awful bit of business by having to one-up The Miz and say that the red carpet was reserved for actual theatrical movie premiere stars and not just his DVD hits. What the fucking, what a dickhead. Anyway, where were we? So yeah, Stephanie McMahon's judging Mick Foley. They discussed The Undertaker and saying it's just a rumour now, even though it's been promoted for the last couple of weeks. I'm sure that's Mick's fault as well as it's Steph. Then Rollins comes in and says he's in the Royal Rumble this year, until someone comes roaring through the door and it happens to be Braun Strowman. Berserker Braun wants Goldberg and Roman Reigns because of them spearing him last week. He starts to get a bit angry. Seth Rollins gets in his face. Eventually they end up fighting. He gets split up. Steph goes mental and tells Foley to sort out The Undertaker and she'll fix the problem in the room. Well, this came out of nowhere. Roman Reigns defends his US Championship against Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho in a handicap match, and it's next. As Roman was coming down to the ring, we're showing a replay from last week when he and Bill Goldberg speared Braun Strowman, and Kevin Owens and Chris Jericho come out. Before they have chance to fight, and before the bell rings, Braun Strowman's music hits. He comes down, they all jump Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins in a chair save the day. Stephanie appears and she postpones the match until later on, but then she says Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman's next. Despite Seth Rollins already announcing it in the opening segment, we're shown his tweet regarding his entry into the Royal Rumble this year. Just like before, the match was quite entertaining. Seth flying around, Braun swatting him out the sky, Seth running around and getting Braun tired. It eventually ended in a double count out, which made Strowman go fucking batshit crazy. He grabbed the steel chair, but as he was getting into the ring, Seth snatched it off him, and then every time Braun tried to get into the ring, Seth started swinging it at him. This made Strowman think again, and he buggered off. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, WWE is selling voodoo dolls of Byron Saxton and Corey Graves is having a go at one right now. Just take my fucking money, take it now. We get a recap of Bayley upsetting Nia Jax last week, and then Bayley and Sasha Banks talk about it backstage. Blah blah, Charlotte turns up and I just start drifting off. Charlotte says she can't handle a candle. Fucking fantastic work, love. And then I just zone out completely, and oh no, then Nia Jax appears, the heels jump the faces. And then Charlotte gets a bit too cocky, Nia grabs Charlotte, pins her up against the wall, and then she fucks off. Corey Graves' voodoo doll seems to be doing the trick. I'm guessing he wrote talent or personality on it because Austin Aries has appeared instead of Byron Saxton. Nice one. Jack Gallagher secured yet another victory against Drew Gulak this week, once again utilising the running corner dropkick. After the match, Charles the Dwarf got in the ring. Jack Gallagher said that he challenged Daivari to parlay on 205 Live, and, if he doesn't agree to that, there'll be fisticuffs. This could be quite it. No, I'm not watching it. Nice one, bye. Does anybody want to see HBK dabbing? I fucking don't. I don't think TJ Perkins does. Who does? Fucking hell. Steph finds Mick looking for clues backstage on the whereabouts of The Undertaker. She updates him and tells him that his whole job performance review is based on now just getting The Undertaker. So that's the 2016 job performance review is based on actions that are happening in 2017. Jog on, daft bitch. Now we're going to Shawn Michaels plugging the new movie that he's in. He mentions his age, twice. He says that the Royal Rumble's in his hometown. He tries to put over as much of the talent that's in the Rumble and that's on the roster, to be fair. The crowd start chanting for one more match, which, yeah, it looks like it upsets him a bit, which it would anybody that, loved doing that and wishes he could do it still, so I think they should behave doing that. You can see how Daniel Bryan dies a little inside every time he comes into the ring, because he still does his fucking full entrance sequence. So when someone gets away from it for a while like Michaels and comes back and gets that nostalgia and gets that adrenaline, Yeah, don't shout shit, idiots. Eventually the Dirty Foreigners, aka Rusev, Lana and Ninja Mahal appear. Rusev says he needs to put Lana in the film because, then it'll sell well, because it'll flop otherwise. Shawn cracks Rusev and he falls out of character and he just goes off on one, and it was quite amusing, with Rusev just letting loose with his semi-American accent, until he composed himself and got back into character. Sadly, we're joined by Enzo and Kaz. They do their usual crap of singing along, spelling words incorrectly, making lists, but not the good kind like Chris Jericho does, and then Shawn Michaels cracks them out of character too, so well done, he had everybody fucking cops. Eventually, once they gather all their shit together, Kaz challenges Rusev, but ends up getting Ninja Mahal instead, and Shawn Michaels says he's going to stick around to watch the match. Rusev is such a dirty mark. At WrestleMania he went mental when he got stunned, and then this week he sets himself up to get sweet chin music by interfering in Jinder Mahal and Big Kaz's match. He interferes once, causing the distraction, and then Shawn counters him for the second time, hits him with a sweet chin music, which then allows Big Kaz to hit possibly the worst sloppy river crossing I've ever seen him do, and then he gets the 3 count. Yeah, I don't see why you can take the piss out of people, Big Kaz. Just stick to your fucking elbow drop, fella. Cheers. F-U-C-K-O-F-F for cough. Boom, 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 boom. As I always do, I'll give credit where credit's due. I did with the Usos a few months ago when they turned them heel and repackaged them. Done the same with Neville. They've given him a new intro, they've got no fireworks, his theme's slightly slower, they've taken all his high flying out of there, and even finished it with the Rings of Saturn, which was nice. He jumped Lindsay Dorado after the match, but then Rich Swann came and saved the day and scared Neville off. Is he here? Is he here? Is The Undertaker here? To be fair, I don't really care. Well, it seems like it's time to get the Shit Shield 9999 back out because Stephanie McMahon's here again. She demands one of her minions get rid of her bush immediately, and then she's joined by Sasha Banks and Bayley. Sasha and Bayley demand a match against Charlotte and Nia Jax next week. Stephanie goes one step further and says it's tonight, take it or leave it. Whilst obviously getting the girl balls all over the place and putting everyone in their place. Next up, we've got a match between Luke Gallows and Sheamus. Carl Anderson joined the commentary team, who's shortly followed by Cesaro as well. Did you know Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows used to work in Japan? There's got some stiff shots in the match. I just hurt watching them both just smack each other around. Did you know Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows used to work in Japan? Sheamus is about to go for the bro kick, but then Anderson jumps Cesaro to cause a distraction, and then Luke Gallows hits half a magic killer for the 2 count, like they used to do in Japan. Did you know Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows used to work in Japan? Cesaro counters on the ramp, and then Sheamus bro kicks a distracted Luke Gallows. And then the commentary team finishes off by mentioning that he used to work in Japan as well. J-fucking-pan. Nothing new whatsoever between Roman Reigns and Charles the Dwarf, completely robotic fucking predictable dialogue as per usual. I suppose this opinion isn't going to be very popular, but I'm not really fussed for The Undertaker. Foley comes out, I asked The Undertaker to come out, he doesn't come out. Stephanie joins, she says, well done Mick, you've just fucked these fans over, even though it was me that advertised The Undertaker was going to be here for the last couple of weeks. And then when it looks like she's going to start disciplining him in some form, gong, The Undertaker comes out, says he's going to be in the Royal Rumble, says he's not controlled by anybody, apart from Vince at WrestleMania last year, and Mick Foley just then by manipulating him and guilting him. And then that's about it, so yeah, nice one, cheers, take us in the Rumble. The international treasures that are Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens tell Charles the Dwarf that they're going to be the faces of America soon, since they're going to win the title off Roman Reigns tonight. We get a recap of the Divas squabble earlier on in the night, and we also get a visual for the Royal Rumble match that's highly anticipated by myself, between Charlotte and Bayley, which leads into the match between Bayley and Sasha Banks against Charlotte and Nia Jax, where an injured Sasha and an outnumbered Bayley would have completely destroyed. Nia finished Bayley off with a leg drop, and that was about it, really. Alicia Fox sneaks into Noam Dar's locker room while he's getting changed. Then she jumps on him and gives him fucking herpes. Nice. Would that work the same way if he did it to her? As well as Michael Cole displaying that he is the leakest wink, goodbye, I don't like where this is going. I think they're going to let Titus join the New Day. No, please don't, lads, come on. The times aren't that hard, fuck's sake. Anyway, Titus apologises to the New Day for last week. He just said he lost his temper. So then the New Day shows some 2010 NXT footage where Titus fell trying to run round the ring with a keg. So they decide to relive this with a keg of booty juice. Titus gets all the way round the ring, but he drops it at the last second due to him celebrating. He ends up sulking and pushes Kofi Kingston, and then Kofi challenges him to a match, and yeah, they're just going to keep doing this until they've gone through all 3 of them, and then they're going to let him join, aren't they? No, Titus, you silly sausage. I was just this moment praising you to our lass about how you recovered from that little graze. The kick that Kofi gave you didn't actually hit you as much as you initially intended it, but rather than overselling it, you made up for it on the fly, and you just acted like it grazed you. Well done. And then you go and do your double backbreaker and just prove you're a fucking dopey bastard and just fell everywhere. Luckily, Xavier, Francesca 2 Turbo and Biggie were on the outside to distract him, just because he started to show a bit of momentum. And then Trouble in Paradise got Kofi the win. Guessing it's Biggie next week, and then possibly them all again, or they'll just let him join there and then. Who knows? I don't really want him to, but nah. Things look like they're really starting to flare up on 205 Live, and I don't just mean Noam Dar's herpes. Cedric Alexander fights Dar one-on-one, as well as Tony Nese facing Rich Swann. I actually really like Tony Nese. He's possibly my favourite one of the cruiserweights so far. It's on tomorrow night, you say? Oh, fuck off, I'm not watching it! No, I've told you before, stop it! Once again, I'll take the opportunity to mention that I've done this for much longer than I've made videos of it, and I'll reference a lot of old written pieces that I've done, quite a few of which I've mentioned Brock Lesnar, and just gradually over the last year or so I've just not cared. In fact, a little bit longer than that. I don't know whether it's because of the drug scandal, the fact that I'm getting paid $6 million a year apparently, for giving 6 suplexes and F5 to a match, making Dean Ambrose look like shit at WrestleMania. He's just not been doing anything for me, and if he just wasn't to re-sign, I wouldn't miss him that much, to be perfectly honest. We're on to the main event now, as once again Roman Reigns faces Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens in a 2-on-1 handicap match for the United States Championship. Before the bell rings, Roman Reigns tries to lock Chris Jericho in the cage, a little reminder of what's going to happen at Royal Rumble, but KO gets there in time to stop that from happening. Owens and Jericho beat the shit out of Roman up on the ramp, and then they throw him into the cage, which knocks the cage off the ramp. Then they beat on Roman some more, and drag him back to the ring, where the referee asks if he wants to start the match, and Roman says of course, obviously being the big babyface. Once Reigns turns the tables, however, Jericho and Owens use the numbers to their advantage. Kevin Owens grabs Roman Reigns' leg from the outside, and Jericho hits him with a code breaker, which then lets Kevin Owens powerbomb Roman Reigns and just hammers him into the ring apron. Then they throw a lifeless Reigns back in, Owens feeds into Jericho, Jericho hits another code breaker, and fucking hell, we've got new US champions. Or US champion, or co-US champion, whatever they are. But they've got both the belts now, so, it's a good day. And it's not been a fantastic night for Vince McMahon's wank bank, just in general, to be fair. You've got Strowman, who was scared of a weasel with a steel chair. You've got Big Kaz being a sloppy bastard. You've got Titus O'Neil being a big sloppy bastard. And now, in Vince's eyes at least, you've got Roman Reigns getting beaten up by 2 midgets. Fucking hell. And that's me done for another week. If you'd like to comment, please follow the link in the description to the Botchmania site and do so there. If you prefer Twitter, I can be found at Blunt Damage. If you like my theme music, the band are The Colour Fire, and they can be found at www.thecolourfire.com. Please feel free to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.